don't have a problem with upsetting others, and in fact have a certain degree of arrogance and a certain degree of strength in their opinion, that they can say what they want, do what they want, trample over other people's feelings, and it doesn't even matter. Those people are in what we would call a state of confusion because they do not understand, or they have not remembered, that we are all one. They do not understand or remember that whatever it is that you bring to others is also something you're bringing to yourself. And therefore it's a great chain of being. You really don't ever want to treat other people differently than how you would want to treat yourself. And yet, those who are awakening, those who are going through an increasing expansion of their own consciousness, are having more and more encounters with people that are coming from this perspective. And it can be very difficult. It can be very traumatic. Because these people will not want to give you the love that you deserve and the love that you intrinsically have from the universe. They will give you experiences that will torture you and that will humiliate you and that will make you feel that you are less than what you really are. Let's not forget, they're there in your life because you attracted them. If you are stuck in this victim consciousness where you like to write letters to your friends or talk to them on the phone and whine and complain about how terrible this person is and how much you're being mistreated, you haven't understood what's going on. Every time you interact with that person, you are choosing to. They are there because you allow them to be there. There are no paradoxes. If you didn't want to be with that person, you don't have to be. If you don't want to be in a particular job, you don't have to be. If you don't want to live in a particular place, you don't have to live there. Granted, you're not just going to wake up tomorrow morning and have millions of dollars in a pile lying next to your bed. But on the other hand, you can create new opportunities for yourself. You have the chance to be able to transform your circumstances to any degree. It was only about a decade ago that I was in abject poverty and working for jobs that paid about $6 an hour and really had no knowledge of any deeper purpose for my life or where things were going. In fact, it was only recently that I have been able to stabilize my income to the point where I at least can pay my bills and be able to put out some initiatives to get this material to a larger level. As a result of my appearance on Coast, I did receive a lot of hate mail, not only in my own email inbox, but also on various forums on the internet. And what I can say is that this is a classic example of people who enjoy attacking other people as sort of like a spectator sport. Specifically, what I was being attacked about was this idea that there may be a very substantial disclosure of the reality of the extraterrestrial presence on Earth that's happening soon in our own physical reality. That aroused a great deal of controversy. In fact, many people were acting as if I had somehow staked my entire reputation on this one particular data point. So I would like to state for the record that I am not doing that. It's a sad thing on one level that you have to be hated by so many people in order to say some very basic things. And all I said on the show was that I have someone who is an insider who has worked with the Black Ops community for quite some time. And this individual was told by 3 different people who he knows over many, many years of contact with this community that there is going to be a formal government disclosure of the reality of the UFO phenomenon, the reality of human extraterrestrials who look very similar to us, in some cases almost identical, that this will be happening before the end of the year, that the television time has already been booked on major networks not only in this country but around the world, that it will be a 2-hour special, and, if it's not crazy enough, you will actually be introduced to several different people, each of whom are a representative from different human lineages on different planets. Now again, this is not something I'm staking my reputation on, and I would also like to point out that this is a war. This is a war in which Obama is part of the faction that wants to see this stuff get out there into the open. Without exception, all of these Black Ops sources that spoke to my contact were very, very disdainful towards Obama for wanting to do this. They see it as a flagrant exercise of ego on his part because what they prefer is secrecy and cover-up and concealment. The reason why I'm calling it a war is that this is sufficient for them to want to assassinate President Obama. More than enough. Because once this announcement is made, whenever it does get made, it's going to be a game changer for the planet on a level that we've never seen before. Because all of a sudden we're going to have to question everything that we think we know. For example, about human evolution. Are we, in fact, indigenous to this planet, or were we placed on this planet? And when you go through the esoteric science that I have brought out to the community of the world, it becomes easier and easier to see how the universe itself is fundamentally biological in nature. Life is written into this torsion field, or what I call the source field, that is throughout the entire cosmos. And at least within this particular galaxy, the DNA molecule is written by intelligent energy of the galaxy itself. The galaxy is alive, the galaxy is conscious, the galaxy authors DNA to be what it is. This consciousness has given us the human form. The human form is not unique to the Earth. It is unique to the galaxy. And in fact, according to the Law of One series, it also is very prevalent in other galaxies throughout the universe. There is a fair percentage of all the known universe that has human life on those various planets. But within this galaxy, all of us are going to be human in some form. That doesn't mean there can't be some pretty wide discrepancies from one to another in terms of how people look. In fact, some of these humans are rather frightening to see, and I have met with various whistleblowers who actually did interact with some of these people. Some of them have actually interacted with many different types of these people. And they've told me that if you meet some of these people for the first time and you've never seen anyone who looks like that before, it's kind of difficult to keep your cool and just remain calm and smile and be cordial when you meet somebody like this, because in some cases they look pretty different. They can have eyes that are a lot larger than ours but still basically look the same as our eyes do. They can have eyes that are almost black in color. The eyes might be more on the sides of the head rather than the front of the face like ours are. And there's a lot of other differences in terms of the basic structure, but again, the overwhelming majority of them look very similar to us. And you then start to get superficial variances in terms of the skin color. You have all the different colors of the rainbow in pastel showing up in people's skin color. There's heights that range from 1.5 feet tall to upwards of 15 feet tall. And in fact, I've been told recently by another witness that there are in fact microspecies as well. It's possible that movies like Batteries Not Included were in fact based on real intel that came in. Now, whether those people actually started out that way or whether they were turned into something that small temporarily as a result of a technology, that's not clear. But again, it's going to be a situation where there will be people who laugh and who scorn and who hate and who write ridiculous things on the internet, including death threats. We got many of those. But the point is, I'm telling you the truth based on what's been told to me and what I understand from these whistleblowers. I don't really mind if people have that kind of negativity, because ultimately you have to go through lots of resistance as you start to understand the way that things really work. It is not an easy process. It requires a lot of conditioning to get your mind attenuated to the truth and to really be able to take in this grander vision. There's a lot of people who follow the UFO subject and who are very interested in the UFO subject, but when it really comes right down to it, they don't actually believe it. They're interested in it, they like hearing about it, but when you really get down to brass tacks, they don't actually believe it. They're still stuck in that idea of what if, and maybe, maybe not. And what everybody seems to be waiting for is the official government disclosure and/or the so-called landing on the White House lawn. The problem is that these higher beings, as I would call them, since they have evolved past the level that we're at right now in terms of their spiritual focus on the true identity of the one infinite creator, they are fundamentally not going to come here and intrude upon us in any overt way. Their goal is to see that we arrive at an awareness on our own. They don't want to come in and save the day